Tonight, how Motherwell shot their way to the top of the table. The eccentric Alan Main plots his international course. And Jack Charlton on the win-or-bust clash for the Republic.
But first, what's in the news, Gerry?
Well, rather sad news tonight because Stevie Chalmers, scorer of Celtic's winning goal in the European Cup final in Lisbon, has been told by the club that he's to be made redundant from his pools job at Parkhead. Friends of Chalmers have been in touch with me tonight and they're unhappy because he's still under medical supervision following a heart attack. They've told me that he sent a letter to the director saying he's unhappy about this move, but as yet he still had no reply. I understand Celtic have said that he can continue working in a PR capacity on match days, but at 56 years of age and with more than 30 years service, I think he's looking for a good financial package. It would be nice to think that the club can come to terms, some kind of terms with this player, who's been a great servant to them down through the years.
Yes, indeed. Transfer news tonight, Jay?
Yeah, well, Tony Mowbray of Celtic is back with his old club at Middlesbrough tonight, talking to them. Lenny Lawrence, the manager, came up to speak to Mowbray in Scotland during the week. Mowbray has now gone down there. It should go through over the weekend if his personal terms can be met, and it'll be worth about £500,000 to Celtic.
And of course, Lou McCarry, he needs to get money in, doesn't he?
Very much so, and I know for a fact that he's been in touch with Graham Souness at Liverpool about Ronnie Rosenthal, and Rosenthal's the type McCarry wants for the style of play he wants to introduce at Celtic. He wants to play it tight at the back, and he wants a good runner up front, and Rosenthal certainly comes into that category.
On the eve of tomorrow's games then, a fair bit of illness and injury about?
There is. I think it'll be late team selections all around the country tomorrow. Hibs, for instance, have been hit by a flu bug, and Celtic have problems. John Collins and Paul Byrne are out injured. That's on top of Gerry Craney's injury. Frank McAvenny will come back there. Kilmarnock tell me, incidentally, there are still tickets available for this match. I was down there for the Rangers game last week, packed house and great atmosphere. Good to see the great times back at Kilmarnock. Tommy Burns tells me that he's trying to sign Owen Coyle from Bolton this week, and Southampton's Paul McDonald, but he hit snags on both occasions. He's really keen to beef things up down there in terms of his squad. Ali McCoy, he's doubtful for Rangers, but Charlie Miller has been added to the Ibrox squad, and I'm told he's got a big future.
If that's not enough, anything else in the go?
Right, I've got news from down south. Joe Jordan has insisted on an agreement with Stoke City that if he's ever offered the Scotland job, that they will release him, and there'll be no compensation claim by them. Craig Brown, of course, is likely to be confirmed next week, now that Jordan has moved south.
Gerry, thanks. Well, there was a full programme of Premier League matches in midweek, and our cameras were at them all. We start at Pittodrie with Aberdeen against Celtic.
Celtic took the lead at Pittodrie after a shambolic scene in the Aberdeen box. Stephen Wright dispossessing John Collins, then slipping the ball through his own goalkeeper's legs, allowing Brian O'Neill to nip in and score. Ian Jess and Joe Miller got together to carve out the Aberdeen equaliser. Jess turning past Collins and Gillespie, and Peter Grant diverting the shot into his own net.
One goal settled the match between Motherwell and St Johnstone, and one of the most talented midfield combinations in the country put Motherwell joint top of the table. Phil O'Donnell made the wide run to provide a perfect first-time cross, which Paul Lambert volleyed past Andy Rhodes. The victory sets up a top-of-the-table clash at Pittodrie tomorrow.
I think I've played about 10 games here, and I've had a few near chances and near misses, but the one against St Johnstone was nice when I went in.
What do you remember of the goal?
I think it was Phil O'Donnell that crossed it, and I just made the run, and it just came, and I just stuck my foot and it just went in. Just one of the things.
It's almost a year exactly, in fact, since you last scored a goal in competitive football. But it obviously doesn't concern you too much.
Oh no, I mean, as I said, to me it doesn't matter who scores. As long as Motherwell win, I really don't mind. But it's always nice to get a goal yourself. It takes a wee bit of pressure off yourself, but it was good. And as I said, it doesn't really bother me who scores.
It was all the more important, the fact that it proved to be the winning goal, and it's a goal which puts you right back up, level in points at the top again.
Well, as I said, I think we've got Aberdeen on Saturday, so and that's the top of the table. So if we win, we'll go above them, and it'll take us clear ourselves. But the winning goal, it's the first time I think it's ever happened to me. That so it's nice.
Kilmarnock took a deserved lead at Easter Road in 21 minutes. Mark Riley floating over a corner which Tom Brown headed home. But it was a different Hibs who came out for the second half, and they were level within 4 minutes. Stephen Tweed, the scorer, with a powerful header. The winner came with 9 minutes left. Michael O'Neill's corner met by Gordon Hunter, whose celebrations were curtailed when he ran straight into Gus McPherson and was left clutching his face. Still, it was worth the pain to secure 2 points.
United were already a goal up through Dave Bowman when Andy McLaren embarked on a solo effort to make it 2-0 against Wraith Rovers at Tannadice. McLaren's pace and strength took him past Jason Rowbotham, and United looked to be cruising. But Wraith fought back in the second half. Their first goal started by John McStay. Gordon DL playing a neat 1-2 with Ali Graham. And Jason Dare slotting the ball home. Wraith were down to 10 men by the time they got the equaliser. George McGeechee sent off for a second bookable offence. The goal came with 4 minutes left. Ali Graham getting a near post flick in a corner. Steve Crawford heading home at the far post. A point savoured more by Wraith than United.
Rangers went one up on Dundee, John Brown providing the cross from the left, Dundee failing to clear the danger, and Ian Ferguson driving the ball home with the aid of a deflection. Then penalty Rangers, Gary Patterson handling inside the box. Up stepped Ali McCoist to put Rangers 2 up. John Brown was again involved in the build-up to Rangers' third goal. McCoist with the header, and Rangers well in command now. Ali had indeed struck again. Dundee were playing for pride now, but they did get a consolation goal back. Substitute Paul Tosh working down the left and finding Billy Dodds in space. He moved in to score, but 3-1 Rangers. Rangers midfielder Ian Ferguson on the score sheet once again. For him, finishing moves is an extremely important part of his job.
In my game, I think it's very important. I've scored, when I was with St Mirren, I scored goals in the midfield. And since joining Rangers, I've scored goals. But I've not been happy over the past couple of years through injury and illness. But hopefully this year I can take off again and get what I got. My first year was 13 goals, so I'm hoping to go for that.
Injury and illness haunted 26-year-old Ferguson, but that nightmare throat virus has long gone.
It makes you a stronger person, definitely. With the media giving you a bit of stick and the fans giving you a bit of stick. But you've got to try and come through that, and hopefully I have come through that. Now the fans are giving us their backing again, and I'm really enjoying it.
Was there a stage then that you thought, well, will I ever get out of this?
Well, that was for about 2.5 years. I went through that with the illness and the injury. Then the illness was a year long. The injuries just kept coming thing after thing, and no, I'm over that. Touch wood, I just hope I can keep playing in the Rangers first team.
And he's playing particularly well for his club right now. Ferguson was Rangers' opening scorer at Rugby Park last Saturday, and he himself is pleased with his run of games of late.
I'd like to think so. I think that's 23 games now that I've played in a trot. I think that's the most I've ever played in a trot, so I've just got to keep going and keep playing as many as I can get.
He's in his 6th season with Rangers and is hungry for even more success, both at club and international level.
Every time the Scotland thing comes around, I always seem to get an injury. I never get the chance to either be in the squad or actually play. So hopefully Craig Brown's included me in the squad again this time, and hopefully if I can get a game, then I'll try and do the business for Craig Brown. For Rangers is just to go and keep winning. Hopefully we can go on and do what we did last year, win a treble. But first and foremost, the Premier League. That's the one we want to win.
And there's how the midweek results left the Premier Division table. Aberdeen and Motherwell out in front, the Dons holding the advantage on goal difference. And it's the top two who clash tomorrow at Pittodrie, with Dundee United playing Hibs, Hearts facing Dundee, Kilmarnock against Celtic, Rangers taking on Wraith Rovers, and St Johnstone entertaining Partick Thistle. In the First Division, Clydebank lead by a point from Falkirk and Airdrie, with Dunfermline tucked in 4th place. Clydebank are away to St Mirren tomorrow, with Airdrie at Ayr and Falkirk at home to Brechin. In the Second Division, Stranraer have opened a 2-point lead over Meadowbank and Alloa. The top three are all at home tomorrow. Stranraer playing Berwick, Meadowbank meeting Montrose, and Alloa facing Queen of the South. And we'll take a short break there. In a couple of minutes, Alan Main on his drive to become Scotland's #1.
Something really big is coming to the SECC in Glasgow. It brings with it some of the fastest, most exotic names in motoring history. Amazing designs of the future and classics of the past. All in all, a seemingly endless list of new models will be arriving for this year's Scottish Motor Show, November the 12th to the 21st. That's not too long to wait, is it?
My video recorder would know all my favourite programmes. I won't have to do anything. I just tell it what I want to watch and it will show it. It'll be really easy.
Now Ferguson has developed the ultimate video programming system with built-in Video Plus and total satellite compatibility. You need just one number to record the program you want. It really is child's play. You can see forever with Ferguson.
On to lot 34. Who'll start me off with this excellent spurned mistress story? Am I bid 10,000? 20.
When The Observer exclusively revealed John Major's views on the legitimacy of some of his cabinet, could it be that some Sunday papers were otherwise occupied?
Yours, sir, for £90,000.
The Observer, where news comes first.
Stopping up drafts around your doors helps fight global warming and saves money, of course.
Hello again. Scotland head for Malta for their final World Cup qualifying game with nothing more than pride at stake, unfortunately. Dundee United's Alan Main is in the squad, a reward for a consistent run in the Tannadice goal this season. Ken McRobb reports.
So perhaps an early test for Alan Main in the United goal. Hug and Christensen over the ball. Christensen who strikes it, it's a good one and it's a marvellous save. That was a terrific free kick by Jesper Christensen.
Form like that has earned Alan Main an international call-up. The United keeper's career is right on course.
I'm only 25, I'm in the international squad. I know there's a few injuries, but I've just got to take everything as it comes, and I'm really pleased the way things are going so far.
Alan worked very hard and he played very well all the way through the season. Well, you know, he had a few, sloppy moments, but more or less every single player, you know, at any level will do such things. But Alan worked very hard, and the way he responded on the park is the absolutely right way for an international player. He's got a lot of ability, he worked hard, he deserved everything he got, and I think very shortly he'll get a chance as well in a Scotland team, because no doubt about it, he's definitely the best alongside Brian.
Having established himself as United's first-choice keeper, Main then lost his place to Guido van de Kamp for a spell, but he thrives in competition.
Ever since Billy Thompson's been here, we've had a few goalkeepers here and there, so it's done me a lot of good, and I think it's maybe, I've looked at myself and said, we'll have to work harder at it, so I have worked hard and things are starting to look good for me now, so I've just got to keep working hard.
Everything starts from the keeper, and then from defenders, you know, midfielders, front boys. As I said, you know, attacking game starts from the keeper and the fullbacks, defenders, as defending job starts from the front boys. Football is a very simple game, and that's Alan's approach to the game is just right. And as I said, you know, he's an extremely good pro, you know, and he deserves everything he got.
Main keeps himself busy throughout the 90 minutes. When he's not directly involved in the action, he's encouraging the fans or screaming at his teammates. He likes to be involved and certainly makes himself heard.
I get worked up a wee bit. I think everybody knows I get a bit worked up, so everybody's going to get used to it, I think.
I suppose it's difficult for a goalkeeper to keep himself involved in a game, but you seem to do that by constantly shouting. Is that intentional?
I think ever since I've been young, I've been told to shout for my concentration, so I think it does help. I think the crowd as well helped me as well with the shouting and screaming and that, so it does help me a lot. Aye.
How do your fellow players take your antics sometimes? Do they ever take it to heart?
Some of them do, but they know it's on good heart, and I encourage and strikers all the time. If they miss, well, I'm shouting and screaming at them, so it's every incentive for them to beat me, but I don't think they have this season. So.
I mean, they say a goalkeeper's got to be slightly mad anyway. Do you fall into that category?
Nah, I'm not mad at all, I think. I'm quite sane.
Well, there may be nothing at stake in Malta, but the same can't be said for the match at Windsor Park, Belfast, between Northern Ireland and the Republic. Billy Bingham is standing down as Northern Ireland manager after the match, with the Republic needing a win to guarantee their place in next year's finals.
Reaching the last date of the last World Cup was the pinnacle of Jack Charlton's career as manager of the Republic of Ireland. Now he stands 90 minutes away from guiding his side to a second finals appearance. To get there, they have to beat Northern Ireland in Belfast, having missed a chance to book their place against Spain last month in Dublin.
Gerry knocks it long towards Julio Salinas and Caminero! A superb goal, and Spain have spoilt the party already. Houghton beaten to it though. It's a decent challenge. I don't really know why the crowd are complaining. He now won it well, and that's a great ball forward to Julio Salinas, who's got in behind Kernahan here. Danger. It's a goal. Caminero. And that's not a bad ball. Whipped away, and it comes to Julio Salinas. This could be 3. It is. McGrath's header is a good one. Brought down by Sheridan. Phelan. Whelan on the right. Sheridan again. On the left, I should say. Good-looking ball in. Nadal reaches it and reaches it again. Now Houghton, and the shot by Sheridan, and at last.
That was only one of 10 defeats in 72 internationals over the last 7 years. Charlton loves the job almost as much as the Irish love him.
The Irish job was one that I got given and was asked to do, and to be fair, when I got up with the job, I wasn't that bothered. They said, would you be interested in doing the job? And I said, yes, I would be interested. And eventually I got a phone call from Jimmy Armfield of the Daily Express in Manchester to tell me I'd got the job. I mean, so, and I came across to meet the people here because I'm a Protestant Geordie Englishman, you know, the first time anybody's been appointed to this sort of a job over here ever. And it took a bit of settling into it first, you know, there was a few that weren't too keen on the fact that I'd got the job here. But by and large, after a while, when people got to know me, they settled down to it. And we've had a very nice, friendly atmosphere about my involvement here in Ireland. We've created probably the best support following in the world. I mean, the Irish never cause any problems. They sing, they dance, they tell you jokes, you can join the party. Never had one moment's trouble in 8 years when we travelled abroad. And that's lovely, you know, and it's created an atmosphere here that even, the women of 80 and 90 stop me in the street, you know, and either send me letters. And they all thank me for what I'm doing for Ireland, you know, and it puts a bit of a strain on you sometimes.
I think you could classify him as some sort of a deity at this stage. It's not just the association. I think generally right around the country, no matter where Jack goes, first of all, he's recognised, and secondly, he can get a free pint in any bar he chooses to go into. So he is something of a magnetic person for everybody in the country. Everybody relates to Jack. He's almost more Irish than we are ourselves.
Well, I come all the way back from Italy, and I got back into Dublin, and we'd had enough. I mean, we had a great reception here, fantastic. And then I wanted to get home. I'd been away for 7 weeks, and I was desperate to go fishing because I was due to go fishing on the Erith, on a river on the west coast of Ireland. And I drove back. I got a flight to Newcastle, picked the car up, said hello to my wife, put my gear in the car with a pal of mine, drove to Stranraer, got the ferry to Larne, and by 5 o'clock the same afternoon, leaving Dublin, I was back in Sligo. I was in Sligo. And I'm going over the bridge, and you stop and have a look at the water, see what the water's like, because fishermen always do. You see, if it's good water, you get fish. And Dennis, the lad I was with, said to me, shall we have a pint of Guinness? So I said, yeah, there's a pub there. So I went across to the pub, and just as I went to open the door opened in front of me, and there was a big Irishman stood there, and he looked down at me, and he went, ah, Jack, he said, it's great here to come to me redundancy party. He thought I'd come all the way from Italy to go to his redundancy party.
Forward to the captain, and a little layoff. McGrath, Staunton, they're looking good now. The Irish buzzing. Houghton plays it into Quinn. And more problems for him. This will be carried in by Staunton and an in-swinger.
The Republic's record against Northern Ireland is good. They took 3 points out of 4 off them on the way to Italia 90. To make sure of reaching USA 94, they need to get full points. Charlton's style of play has come in for criticism in the past, but he doesn't agree with it.
People have always got the wrong impression of the Irish. We've got some very, very good technical players, good touch players, we've got some good players on the ball, we've got some good passers of the ball, we've got good tacklers and good hearts. And if you bend them together right and you give them a method to follow, a direction to go in. I mean, most games of football, and I've experienced in international football, teams lose the game and the ball is that they lose before they get to the halfway line because they tend to play from the back. And any mistake you make there, you're straight at your goalkeeper. So we tend to cut that one out for a start. I don't like them playing through the midfield. I would rather them start from the front, play through the midfield, facing the way they want to go. Then we try to play the ball behind people. Now there's a difference between playing the ball behind people and playing the ball, just humping the ball long. We play the ball. We've got good kickers of the ball at fullback, and Dennis Irwin and Stephen Stone. And they plant balls into areas where we know the ball is going and the opposition don't. So we get a chance to get there first. Then in the last third of the field, I allow them to play the way they think the game is developing. Either to cross it if they think or try something else. But I never try and coach them in the last third of the field.
He's been through it all before. He's played at the top level, World Cup, won a World Cup with England. And he's not afraid of any other teams or players as such, you know. And in fact, he doesn't worry about other players. He talks about what we should do, and we get on with it. And it's brought us success. He's also got a very good system that he sticks by. He doesn't change and chop around and for different games. And I think we all know our system now.
Wednesday's match heralds the end of an era in Northern Ireland, with Billy Bingham retiring as manager after the match. Michael O'Neill of Hibs is in his final squad, and they're not about to do the Republic any favours.
It's a big game, you know. Personally, I would like to see the Republic make it to the finals. You know, it would be good for one of us to be involved. But you know, there's a lot of national pride at stake in the game, so we'll be giving them no favours.
As for Charlton, rumours linking him with the England job abound, but he's concentrating all his thoughts on the job he's got for the moment.
I've had 8 great years. I've loved every minute of it. It's been success from day one, and as long as you keep winning games and you keep pleasing the public that you're supposed to be pleasing, and you keep filling the stadium and everybody wants to watch you, and everybody's happy with you and smiles at you all the time. I've got great friends in Ireland. I would hate to let them down.
Don't think you will. Well, this week's competition offers 6 copies of the Hampden Story by Russell Galbraith, which can be won by answering the following question. When was Hampden Park opened? Was it A, 1893, B, 1903, or C, 1913? Make your choice, then ring 0839 444 511, and we'll announce the winners in Scotsport on Sunday. Britain's last 2 survivors in Europe clashed head-on in the Coca-Cola Cup this week, and it was Arsenal who won the right to meet Aston Villa in round 4.
In goes, well, Butterworth, but quite rightly didn't get there. Almost Gunn didn't get there. Now he's in trouble. It's Wright knocks it in. Ian Wright cashing in on an error by Gunn, and Arsenal are in the lead. Smith does well. Limpar getting Ian Wright through. He's on the good left foot. Good save, Merson. Merson knocks the rebound in. He did well, but Wright did superbly. Smith, lovely touch to Paul Merson. Ian Wright is free over the right-hand side. This could be the third and could wrap it up. It's all over now for Norwich City. It's 3-0 and Ian Wright again.
Well, still in England, Joe Jordan made his return to football as manager of Stoke City on Wednesday, just in time to see his side take on Fiorentina in the Anglo-Italian Cup.
Stoke picked a good time to appoint Joe Jordan as manager. His Italian experience immediately called into play for the Anglo-Italian Cup tie against Fiorentina. The visiting fans certainly remembered him.
Joe's, they used to call him Joe's. Lo Squali from the Joe's film.
Stoke had the ball in the net against Fiorentina thanks to Nigel Gleghorn, but it was disallowed and the game finished 0-0.
When you're playing against a team of the quality of Fiorentina, it's going to be tough and it's going to be tight, and it was. But I thought the second half, we produced better football than we did in the first half. And to be fair, honest, I didn't see anything wrong with the goal. And I thought on the second half performance, I thought we maybe just shaded a win.
Jordan wasn't the only Scot involved in the Anglo-Italian action. Bolton faced Brescia, and after the visitors had gone ahead, former Airdrie striker Owen Coyle struck a well-taken equaliser. Coyle played a part in Bolton's second, taking a wild swing at a cross from the left, which sent the ball into the path of John McGinley. He scored to make it 2-1. Brescia weren't finished though. Romanian star Georgi Hagi scoring with a free kick that should really have been saved to make it 2 each. The game finished 3-3.
A quick look at the early editions, tomorrow's papers. Well, there's the record. There's that Tony Mowbray story. He's talking to Borough. Mark Hateley, very daring jacket. What have we got here? The Scotsman. There's that Mowbray story again. Mowbray can go as McCarry starts to wheel and deal. Eric Cantona A 4-match ban in Europe for him. And finally, the Herald. There it is, a bit shiny. There's that Mowbray story, and there's a good preview of Scotland A, who meet the All Blacks at rugby at Old Annie's Land. And that's it for this week. Join us on Sunday at 4:30 for Scotsport. Remember our phone line 041 332 8787. But we'll leave you tonight with the goals from the midweek premiere programme. As usual, from Gerry and myself, thanks for watching. Good night.